light of the world. I am handsome, charismatic, charming, gifted and bold. I am compassionate, selfless, generous, kind and trustworthy. I am prudent, patient and responsible. I am resilient, persistent, diligent and sensitive. I am wealthy. I have power and authority. I am humble. I am a provider, protector, keeper, and lover. I have dignity, wisdom, and discretion. I am discerning. I have knowledge, insight, and understanding. I sense, I see, and I seize every opportunity. I make the right choices. I am always ready for a great future. I am enterprising, productive, prosperous, and succeeding. Everything I touch increases in value. I excel in all that I do. I live my dreams and vision purposefully. I enjoy and live every moment in love and at peace. I seek good in all things. I hear about and speak only of wonderful things. I'm respected everywhere I go. I am content and satisfied. I deeply enjoy my life and relationships. I love all and I am loved by all. I experience a wholesome life balance and personal power. I have true happiness, peace, tranquility and joy. I am confident and passionate. I am secure and fulfilled. I live to love and I love to live. I am free. I am alive. I am a man of honor. I have absolute power. I create my possibilities. Only the best is what I deserve. I am free, bold, and confident. I think, see, and experience abundance. I care for people. I live a charitable life daily. My destiny is secure. I daily discover and give expression to my essence. I am a solution. I am committed to serve humanity. Life rewards me handsomely and generously for the problems I solve. The world needs and demands for me daily. I excel in everything I do. I love, respect, and honor everyone, including my enemies. Everyone loves, respects, and honors me. I daily plant and harvest my seed. I'm a man of honor. I am grateful for breath and life. I arise, I shine. I am aware of my essence, and I know who I am. I am the salt of the earth. I am the light of the world. I am handsome, charismatic, charming, gifted and bold. I am compassionate, selfless, generous, kind and trustworthy. I am prudent, patient and responsible. I am resilient, persistent, diligent and sensitive. I am wealthy. I have power and authority. I am humble. I am a provider, protector, keeper, and lover. I have dignity, wisdom, and discretion. I am discerning. I have knowledge, insight, and understanding. I sense, I see, and I seize every opportunity. I make the right choices. I am always ready for a great future. I am enterprising, productive, prosperous, and succeeding. Everything I touch increases in value. I excel in all that I do. I live my dreams and vision purposefully. I enjoy and live every moment in love and at peace. I seek good in all things. I hear about and speak only of wonderful things. I am respected everywhere I go. I am content and satisfied. I deeply enjoy my life and relationships. I love all and I am loved by all. I experience a wholesome life balance and personal power. I have true happiness, peace, tranquility and joy. I am confident and passionate. I am secure and fulfilled. I live to love and I love to live. I am free. I am alive. I am a man of honor.
All right, everyone, welcome to Mali Man Summit. We want to welcome everyone from wherever you are watching from. We're so glad that today has come. Right. I can see you guys, I can see Daniel, I can see Praise, I can see Chinwe. Please, if you are already here, please start making some comments in the comment section. Aiba and all of you, come on, from England, Pastor Edwin, good to see you here. Thank you so much, everyone that joined. And I tell you the truth, we are going to have a very good ride today, very good ride today and tomorrow. It's going to be a fantastic movement, fantastic, excellent revelation, excellent understanding for men all over the globe. So I want you to do something for us. Start sharing this link, all right? Yeah, start sharing this link to your friends. Tell them that we are live. Yes, yes, yes. Everybody said, I'm grateful to God for being here. Yes. Let's know where you're watching from. Yeah, Benjamin, I can see you from Georgia. Yeah, good to have you here. Good to have you, Cheji, Matthew. Good to have you here. Come on, let's know where you are watching us from. Let's just see in the comment. Yes, Chinwe said, I look forward to this summit. Please share the link that let people know that we are live. Let people know that we are live. Put in the comment section. Let's know where you're watching from. Okay. Awesome, 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 awesome. From Lagos. Praise said from Lagos. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, from Nigeria. Everybody says from Nigeria. Good to have you guys here. Good to have. I'm so excited because in the Intentional Men Network, which today we're hosting and tomorrow Manly Man, we are starting a very fundamental movement for men where we are creating an atmosphere where men can come and be all they could be and share all they could share and get liberated. Oh, Moses Sani from UK. Good to have you here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Toby, you're welcome. You're welcome. Good to have you here. So it's all about men. It's all about the people, the men in your life, whether you're a man or a woman. It's all about the man and the man in your life, the boys in your life. We are creating this atmosphere to help everyone that is called a man to get in and plug into the beauty of being a man. Like I posted 2 days ago, it is so beautiful to be a man. And I tell you what, we have a lineup of heavy, heavy men. All right, both the keynote speakers, the panelists, and of course, the entire program is loaded with men of understanding and men of wisdom. Obina, you're welcome from the UK. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. So please make sure you share the link. Let people know that we are live. Let people know we are live. Share the link across all boards. So I'm going to be welcoming a man up here so that he can tell us and take us already. We're not going to be taking any time, much time. Already, one of our guests is in the room. So let me quickly bring up Femi. Dear Feli.
How are you, sir? Good evening
I'm
from
all
the
right.
city of Lagos.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, and thanks for asking. How are you doing also?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we are here doing this today, like we've always
Yeah,
done in Clubhouse. So I want to quickly hand this over to you. And our guest is already in the room. I guess, yes, 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 he's already in the room. So I want to quickly hand over to you to take it out from there. Thank you so much.
thank you, sir. All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of the Manly Man. It's a conference and summit that has been put together, designed by men and for men. And I strongly believe we're going to have a wild time today and tomorrow. All our speakers are geared up and ready to unleash what is in their hearts for us to actually become more of a man that we've been designed by God to be. My name is Femi Luta Habegunde, and I'm going to be your host today and also tomorrow. And I'll I'll be guiding us through the various segments of the summit today and tomorrow. And we've actually kickstarted this, and we're actually not going to waste time because we have so little time for so many things that we need to get involved with today. All right, like Chucky rightly said, we'll actually have our first speaker in the house today. But before I bring him in, I just want to ask just one question. For everyone that has joined us today, what are your expectations? What are you looking forward to getting out of the Manly Man Summit today? I wanted to put that in the comment section for me quickly. Let's just have a quick read. What are you looking forward to experiencing in the summit today? All right, let's keep it coming now. Let's keep it coming now. Then afterwards, I'll bring up our first speaker. What are you expecting from the summit today? All right, thank you, Michael. Michael Okeke Lagos. Obina from UK, thank you. Thank you, Ludare Toby. Thank you. All right, tell me, what are you expecting from the summit? What are you expecting from the summit today? What are you looking forward to seeing? What are you looking forward to learning? Let's bring that up in the comment section now, and we'll keep it rolling. We'll keep it rolling from there. All right, I'm looking forward to reading from you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. Praise from Lagos. All right, Chinwe, okay, you're looking forward to this summit. Yes, ma'am, we've actually been planning this for a while. And it's finally here. Thank you, Kende Balogun, to understand what it means to be manly. I like that statement. You want to understand what it means to be manly, and you will learn that today because we're going to be talking about that today. All right, let me take three more before I bring in our first speaker today, who is ready to unleash today. Is very much ready to unleash today. Thank you, Everest Chinyere Amaka. Chinyere Amaka says, I expect to garner new knowledge to be that man that I'm meant to be. Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing also. Anyone else? Let me take two more comments. Then I'll bring in our first speaker. Thank you, Ayeba Soko. It says, I'm looking forward to learning more of how to maximize my potential as a man. Beautiful, beautiful, because as a man, we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of potential. As a matter of fact, we've not scratched enough of our potential as men. We're not scratching enough potential as men. All right, one more comment now. One more comment, then I bring up our speaker. One more comment, then I bring up our speaker. Anyone would like to share this morning, this very evening in Nigeria? Okay, it's evening here. Anyone would like to share? Thank you, Michael Okeke, the man in the man. I like that. You want to know and meet the man within the man. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, that leads us straight to our fourth session tonight. And we have no one else who can do justice to the topic at hand right now, except no other one except Mr. Stephen Olumide Omojuigbe. He's a Stephen with an H. And Stephen actually happens to be an experienced business coach who had, sorry, I messed that up. Sorry, just a second, please. Yeah, I got it now. All right. All right. Yeah, Mr. Stephen happens to be a senior enterprise agile coach at CGI, SME responsible for agile learning and development in the CGI Agile Center of Excellence. This man I'm bringing on board right now possesses a strong understanding and hands-on experience of agile, the SAFe framework, Scrum, and other agile methodologies and framework. He trains coaches and mentors on agile release training, and he's such a man that is so passionate about reducing people debt and building strong trust runways for agile trains. As a certified emotional intelligence coach, Olumide actually coaches and trains on how leaders can develop emotional intelligence skills and apply these skills at agile work. He is skilled at building OCM ideas and practice into agile transformation. All the men in the house and the ladies that love them, I want us to welcome our first speaker tonight, Mr. Stephen Olumide Omojuigbe. All right, where are you, sir? Let's bring you on board. Let's bring him on board. Can the emoji keep coming right now as we bring Mr. Olumide on board now? Let the emoji keep coming. Let it keep coming now. Let it keep coming now. Let it keep coming now. Let's it keep coming now. All right, where is Mr. Olumide now? All right. Are you ready? Are we ready? Yeah, let it keep coming. Thank you. All right, hands waving. Yeah, let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. I think we have a technical issue. It's going to be up shortly. It's going to be up shortly now. Just give me a second. All right. All right. He's at the backstage now. We're going to bring him on board right away now. All right. Let's just sort this technical issue off right now. Just a second. All right. Finally sorted out. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Femi. How have you been?
Good, 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 and so good to see you again.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It is. How's the family?
We're well. God has been good to us, and it's a pleasure to be with you guys this evening. Thank you for having me.
All right, the floor is yours, sir. Over to you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. And if it's morning in your part of the world or afternoon, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to you. My name is Stephen Omojuigbe, and it's a pleasure to be here. I want to appreciate the organizers of the program, Coach Chuki. Thank you for the trust of your platform, and big thank you to you also, Femi, for the warm introduction. Um, my profile that was shared is my professional profile. That is just one part of who I am and what I do. For the past 15 years, I have been passionate about helping men become better men. I used to have a radio show back in Lagos in those days. I used to organize, and I still do organize, a full 1 day seminar immersion program for men. I'm also a man of the cloth. I'm a Christian and I'm a pastor. And my perspectives today, things that I'm going to be sharing with you, will be informed by that perspective. Every man has a different story, has a different journey. And over the course of this conference, I'm sure you're going to be hearing people speak from different perspectives. All right. Today, I want to talk to you on becoming a manly man, becoming a man. And while I am not a religious person, like I said, I am a Christian and my perspective is Christian. I'm going to start this conversation with you all by quoting from the writings of Paul. For those of you who might want to know, you can find it in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11. It says something very poignant that when I first read it back in those days, it took me a while to understand it. It says in 1 Corinthians 13, 11, that when I was a boy or when I was a child, but because we're talking to men, I'm going to replace child with boy, which is the male gender for child. When I was a boy, I spoke, I thought as a boy. I spoke as a boy. I acted like a boy. When I became a man, I put away boyish things. And I remember reading that and like, Paul, what are you talking about here? You became a man? Does that mean that there was a point in your life when you were not a man? I wish I could see him and ask him, at what point did you know you had become a man? But the real question, or even the more important question I wish I could ask Paul was, you said you became a man. So there is a process to becoming a man. Can you please tell me, share with me what that process is? So let's start with what we know, guys. We know, hopefully we all know this, that men are not born. men are made. You give birth to a male child today is a boy. There is no guarantee that he will ever become a man, even though he may grow up chronologically. So he can be 60 and still be a boy. And if you go to Unilag tonight and some of those of our campuses, you will see some of those 60-year-old men who come to pray on 19, 20-year-old girls. So growing older does not equate to growing up, because men are not born, and boys don't become men just by the passage of time. It was probably one of the first things that changed my life, to understand that at that point I was in my late 20s, to realize that I can be an older male and not be a man. And so I started to ask, what does it mean to be a man? How does one know that one is a man? And if you can go to the comment section, I'd like to see your thoughts. What does it mean to be a man? How do one know that one has become a man? What are the characteristics of a man? What will you see and make you say, that's a man? What will you see that makes you say, that's not a man? If you go to the comment section, I'd like to see your thoughts, and go ahead, please share it with me. I was 13 years old, or maybe 14. I attended a public secondary school, which is a comprehensive high school. We used to live in Ikeja. And I would take a bus to school every morning and get off at some bus stop and walk to school. It was about 15 minutes walk. At that time, my school had a program that allowed older people to come into our school to write their school certificate exam. So we used to have 20-year-old, 22-year-old, I mean, pretty much adult folks that were integral parts of our classes, because you have to, I thought it was a good thing anyway. You have to buy the uniform and integrate into the school. But these were pretty much adults who had left secondary school 4 or 5 years ago. And I will never forget this day for the rest of my life. Because as I alighted at the bus stop, I joined this group. I think there were 4 or 5 of them, of those people, older people who had come back to our secondary school to write their school certificate exam. And they were having a conversation. And the conversation centered around the fact that our teachers were not discriminating between the regular folks like me, who were 13, 14 in secondary school, and the older guys who had returned in terms of discipline. So they were attempting to cane these older people just the way they used to cane us. And for those of you who are not Nigerians or who didn't grow up in Nigeria, that might sound strange to you. But in the Nigerian educational system, you get flogged for messing up. And the conversation was this. This was the sentence that has stayed with me now for more than 35 years. One of the ladies was speaking to one of the guys, and she said to him, why will these teachers attempt to beat our guys? Don't they know that they are not boys anymore? That once a man can penetrate a woman, he is no longer a boy. I don't know how I got to be in that conversation, but that conversation changed my life. Because for the first time in my life, somebody was defining to me what it means to be a man. And it was this ignorant, naive 22-year-old girl And a definition of a man was someone who can have sex. And that started my journey, my terrible journey of becoming a man, which I understood by that conversation to be being able to penetrate a woman. I cannot tell you in details how horrible that conversation affected my life and the trajectory of my life after that. But I'll tell you this. 1 year after, I started sleeping with prostitutes. It was my thoughts, in my thinking, based on that conversation, my initiation into manhood. But I'll tell you that encounter, that first time I slept with a prostitute, I will never forget again. Fonley Hotel, Ajao Road in Ikeja, black, thick-set Ghanaian women. No disrespect to Ghana or for anything, but it's just a fact of the story. I didn't know what I was doing. I fumbled throughout the whole 3 or 5 minutes experience, and she mocked and laughed at me and ridiculed me and derided me for being absolutely clueless about what I was doing. And instead of what I thought that experience was going to be initiation into manhood, it created a deep wound in my masculine psyche that took another 20 years to fix. But that's another story. The point of the story is this: what does it mean to be a man? Who is a man? And I want you to start thinking about that as I shift your thoughts to another question. How does one become a man? Because if masculinity is not bestowed on you by birth, and if Paul is to be believed, if there is a process to becoming a man, because he said, I became a man. I became a man. I went through a process and I became a man. What is that process? How does one become a man? What do you have to do? What do you have to experience? What do you have to know? How do you have to, what exactly does it take to convert a boy into a man? The Igbos of Nigeria have a culture of initiating boys into manhood. The men of the clan will gather together one night. It was pre-planned, of course. And they will go from compound to compound with masquerades, singing and shouting and demonstrating and calling to their gods and their ancestors. This band of men will come to different compounds and stand on the edge of the forest. For those of you who might not be familiar with the Igbo culture, a man will live in a forest clearing. His hut will be on one side and his wife's hut will be on the other side of the forest clearing. And there will be like an empty space in between. And this man will come to the edge of the forest and they will begin to say, come out, son of our people. Come out, son of our people. And at that point, every 13-year-old boy who lived with his mother was supposed to be pushed out by their mother and released to the men. Of course, the mothers would not want to do that, but the men will be insistent, come out, son of our people, come out, son of our people, until that woman releases her boy. And they will take these boys and gather them and take them to some forest where they will do all kinds of things to them. They will make them go through fasting. They will tell them about the history of their people. They will introduce them to the religion of their ancestors. And they will train them in all manners of things. And when those boys go through, finish that training, they come back home, but they never go back to their mother's hut. Because while they were in the forest, their father would have built that boy a hut on his own side of the forest. And that boy will start from that day living under the bosom of his mother. But when he returns from that excursion into that training ground, he is given some hunting tools, and he is sent into the forest, and he cannot return until he has made a kill. The interesting thing is that while all that is going on, these men are strategically placed, watching over these boys as they experience this transitioning into masculinity. When the boy returns home, from that day, he begins to join with the men during dinner. He doesn't eat with the women anymore. He eats with the women. He comes into the council of women. He is blessed and spoken over and validated as a man. I think it is one of the most beautiful things that can ever happen to a boy, to have the blessing of being taken through an intentional process like the one I just described, to bestow upon him and to introduce him to masculine ways. Because without it, like many of us, like I did, like so many men are suffering today, we struggle with apprehending masculinity. Oftentimes in my men's program, I ask the men, and I'm going to ask you guys the same question. How many of you at any time in your life when your father said to you intentionally, now it's time to become a man, and I am going to take you through certain process to get you from boyishness or boyhood to masculinity? Every single time I have asked this question to thousands of men, hundreds of men, only 1 or 2 hands gets raised. Usually less than 2%. And then I kind of lower the scale a little bit and ask even a simpler question. How many of you men ever at times in your life where your father sat with you? So let me talk to you about women. Let me teach you how to love a woman. Let me teach you how to please a woman. Let me teach you how to lead a woman. Because at some point in your life, you will do these masculine things, this manly thing. And these are the things to do. These are the things to avoid. Again, less than 2% of men raise their hands. And then I ask the question, how many of you guys, at times in your life, when your father intentionally sat you down and schooled you about finances, how to make money, how to keep it, how to invest it, how to make sure that you don't become poor? How many of you ever were trained by your dad about perspective of life, how to see the world? Again, less than 5%. And so I have come to the conclusion that we are a generation of unprocessed boys. Boys that were not processed. And if you look at the world today, you see that everywhere. The world is suffering from the masculine crisis. In the homes, in America, in Africa, in the political space, the world is dominated by boyish men. Men who have no clue what it means to be a man. Men, in quote, who still think that the world revolves around their mid-region. It's a crisis. It's a crisis that is affecting women. It's a crisis that is affecting children. It's a crisis that is affecting churches. It's a crisis that's affecting every area of leadership. Why? Our fathers didn't process us. We are an unfathered generation. And if you're here and that is not your story, you are the lucky one. You are so blessed. You are a rarity. I hope you appreciate what you have. I grew up in a home that was Christian. My father, my mother, they loved us. but they were unloving towards us. Oh, yes, there is a distinction. You can love someone and be unloving towards them. I grew up alone. There was nobody speaking into my life. My dad was an incredible man, a hardworking man. He was raised in abject poverty. Became an houseboy at 5 years old. Didn't know his mother until he was 30 years old. Raised in a polygamous family. And think about it. When you're raised in a polygamous family, your mother is your succor. Your mother is your hiding place. Your mother is the one that keeps you. But my dad was raised in a polygamous family where his mother was not present. His mother had him, left him, and walked. So he was tossed back and forth by the other women until at the age of 5, he was thrown out and he started working as an houseboy until he found himself in Lagos. He was also an unfathered man. And so when I look at him and the wounds he inflicted on my soul, I have not one iota of anger in my heart against him. Because what you don't have, you cannot give. But here's the problem. An unfathered man raises unfathered children who raise unfathered children. That is the definition of generational curse. That right there is what it means to be generational curse, to be under generational curse. And if you're a man listening to this, either live or you get to watch this later, you have to make up your mind to be a transitional generation. You have to break that evil curse of unfathered men and begin to father your own children and have an intentional program of transitioning them from boys to men. I was unfathered, raised as a child. By the time I was 17, I was into so much criminality. I was doing all kinds of things that I cannot tell you about in this forum. Sometimes I share it with people one-on-one, but I was a criminal. I was in the drug business. I would go from school to school in those days looking for young folks who had American or British passports so that we can put some drugs on them. I was going to hell. And the fact that I did not die, only God could have preserved me. And when I look back on my life, I know that there was someone watching over me. And you might be a man here, maybe you're still in that wild world, and you think it's because you're smart and it's because of your ingenuity that you're able to, get through all those things and stay alive. Maybe God is watching over you, but that's a story for another day. But fatherlessness leads to all kinds of evil, both for the man, for his family, and for his society. If you go to Vietnam today, you will find men, American men, educated men, rich men, men of standing in society, who go to Vietnam to sleep, and Cambodia to sleep with 5-year-old virgins. Think about that level of depravity. 5-year-old virgins. You fly all the way from the US to Asia. You spend about $10,000 to speak with a 5-year-old virgin. But that's not the evil in that story. You know the evil in the story? Those 5-year-old girls are offered by their fathers to these men. Now that's even worse. But I'm trying to paint to you the calamity of what masculinity is doing to the world. 89% of all armed robbery is done by men. 74% of all domestic violence, men. 99% of all rapes, men. And I can go on and on and on and on. The world has a masculine crisis. But let's get out of the very terrible and just come a little closer home. Are you happy as a man? Do you feel a sense of power? Do you have a sense of purpose? Do you feel that you have what it takes, that you are a man in your soul without the trappings, maybe of a car or of a woman or likes on social media? When you are by yourself in your own home, do you feel like you're an empowered man who can make a difference in this world? Do you have joy? Do you have peace? Does your creativity come alive? Do you have a sense of purpose? Do you feel like you matter and you make a difference? Does your wife enjoy you? Does she feel blessed? When you sleep with your wife, for those of you who are married, does she feel like she has been blessed by a man who knows he is a man? Or does she feel assaulted by a male species that is trying to prove that he is a man? Because those two things are not the same. I have spoken to many women who say, when my husband sleeps with me, I feel like I'm a prostitute. Why will a woman say I feel like a prostitute when my husband sleeps with me? Because there's a difference between when a man who knows he is a man goes to be with his wife and blesses her with his sexual powers, and when a boy who is trying to prove that he's a man goes to his wife and assaults her with his sexual powers. Two things are not the same. As a leader, maybe church leader, business leader, leader in any sphere of life, do you lead from a place of masculinity where you can say like Jesus, I have come to serve and not be served? Or are you like some of the leaders we have in every strata of our society, where leadership is about them and being worshipped and being feared, and leadership becomes a tool for self-indulgence? But one is the boy, the other is the man. Which one are you? I've had the opportunity in my life to be fathered by 3 men in profound ways. And for eternity, I will be grateful to those men. The first man that God used to father me, Pastor Taiwo Dukoya, Fountain of Life Church. I was living on the street, a clueless young man, been thrown out of school, no job, nothing. And I don't have time to tell you the story, but God used that man to father me and heal my heart. When I left Fountain of Life Church years after, even still as a single man, I had bought my first house. I'd built a business that made $100 million in 1 year. I'd become a public speaker. Then God moved me into another church, Dominion City, and I met Pastor David Ogweli. And God used that man incredibly to father my purpose and my destiny. Because by the time I left Fountain of Life Church, I'd come to a point where I was like, okay. I have come out of all this pain. I'm whole. So what's next? I didn't know what was next. When I came into Dominion City, I found a worldview that has remained with me till tomorrow, till today. That the purpose of a man is to bring the kingdom of God to birth on earth. I have ran with that. And then about 6 years ago, God brought another man into my life, John Eldredge. You guys may not know him. Because again, at that point, I come to a point where I knew there were still wounds in my soul that were unhealed, and I couldn't reach them. I knew I had come a long journey from the broken messed up young boy that lived on the street. I was an entrepreneur. I had things going on in my life, but I was struggling. I don't mind sharing with you. I was struggling with women. I was struggling with some of this, and I knew there was some on old places. And God brought John into my life. He lives in the mountains of Colorado, and another fathering season began. I can tell you when I became a man. I can tell you how I became a man. I can show you the process. I can take you through the journey. But I'll say this as I begin to close. There was a point in my life when my journey to masculinity began, where I can say for a fact that I had no father but God. The very first person I knew as a father was God. There's so many stories to tell. This is not the time for it. But God is my father. And when I say God is my father, I don't mean that in a religious way at all. I learned to say I love you to God before I could say it to my wife. I learned to say I love you to hear him say that I love you. I would sit in a room for hours, having conversations with him, talking with him, laughing with him, enjoying his company, receiving fathering from him before I ever understood what it means for another man to father me. And there were three things a boy needs from his father. That if you have a son, you need to find a way to make sure he gets these three things before he leaves your house. And if you're a man who was not fathered, or whose fathering process did not do a good job, these are the three things you need. On that day when Jesus came out of the waters of Jordan, after he was baptized by John the Baptist, the scriptures teach that the heavens opened and a voice came from heaven saying, "This is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased." There were two gifts that God was giving to Jesus. And if Jesus needed those gifts, you need it, man. And until you find this validation from God, there will be something unhinged in your soul. And I'm not talking religion here. Because the greatest question in a man's heart, in every boy's heart, is, am I a man? Do I have what it takes? We ask it in different ways. Remember, guys, 13, 14, how you used to go to the bathroom with your friends and look at your penis and see who has the longest one. Oh, yeah, you were asking the question, am I a man? Or when you used to count the whiskers on your chin, or when you used to try and make your voice garrulos, you were asking the question, am I a man? And God designed that your father, your earthly father, or whoever is your father, will speak to you in that moment, affirming your masculinity after taking you through certain experiences. When Jesus heard, "You are my beloved son, in you I am well pleased, hear ye him," he said to the crowd. God was giving him the two most important things every boy must get from his father if he is going to grow up into a true man. Number one is acceptance and delight. No boy becomes a healthy man who did not receive the acceptance, the affection, the delight, and the pride of his father. Did your father delight in you? Did he take pride in you? Did he even accept you? There might be a man here who was rejected by his father. That will have left a gaping wound in your soul. And I don't have the time to talk about how to find healing today. I just want to expose you to some of these ideas. But you have to seek healing for that gaping wound in your heart. Because no boy becomes a man without the acceptance of his father. But acceptance is not enough. You are my son. Oh, yes. In whom I am well pleased. in whom I take pride, in whom I find delight. Did your father celebrate you? Were you a delight to him? When I come into the house and I see my son, we go and do 10 minutes of celebration just because I saw him in the morning. I take so much delight in him. The second gift a boy must get from his father, if he must be a true man, is the gift of belief. When God was saying to the Jews, this is my beloved son, hear ye him. He's saying, I present to you the guy, my guy, who is going to take you guys out of your pain. I present to you someone I trust. I believe in this guy. You guys need to believe in him. Every boy must have a father who invests trust in him. I didn't get none of these things from my earthly father. He could not have given it because he didn't get it from his own father. I do not blame him for it. God brought those three men that I shared earlier to give me those two gifts. But you see, between the gift of acceptance and the gift of confidence and trust, there's a training process that needs to happen. I'm very confident that that day on the banks of the Jordan was not the first time Jesus was hearing those things. Because you say those things not once, you say it intermittently at specific strategic points in the boy's life. You're my son. I take pride in you, and I trust you to fix the car's tires. And that boy, wow, daddy will let me fix the car tire. My goodness, I'm becoming a man. You're my son. I love you, and I trust you to drive the car. Experiences, trainings, and the validation of the father's voice. That's what makes a man. That's what many of us did not get. And today we're floundering in our masculinity. We're floundering in our sense of who we are. And my prayer for everyone is that somehow you will find the blessing of a father. And I'm not talking about the religious thing, calling someone father, father, father. No, I'm talking about someone inviting you in and saying, come on, let's take this journey together. 3 things you will need, though. Number 1, you're going to have to be vulnerable. Some of you need to reach out to someone and say, hey, I heard certain things. I see certain needs in my life. Will you father me in this area? It's going to take some vulnerability. And vulnerability takes humility. And it takes courage. Will you find the courage to hone up to your boyishness and to ask someone to father you in that area? Maybe you're struggling in your marriage. You don't have to do it alone. The whole idea of a solo man, the self-made man, self-made man, is a tragedy. No one is supposed to be self-made. You're supposed to be bestowed gifts. You're supposed to receive gifts. Life is not supposed to be a struggle. You're supposed to have people in your life bringing fathering into your life. Will you find the courage to ask for it? That is the question. And when you have it, or when you get it, when God brings someone into your life to bring father into your life, will you have the discipline to be accountable? If a man finds the capacity to be vulnerable, if he finds the strength to be humble, and if he finds the discipline to be accountable, there's nothing going on in his life that cannot be fixed. All he needs is another man. It can even be your peer. It can be someone who's younger than you that God is going to use to bring that fathering, that training, and that acceptance, and that validation, and that belief and trust. I remember the first time I was asked to teach a Bible class. I was that broken, homeless boy in Bible study. And I was just faithful, and I just loved the Lord. And I remember my teacher then, I remember these people very well because of those specific AZK, Pastor AZK, CI, Fountain of Life in those days. Say, hey, you're going to be my assistant teacher. I was like, and God said to me, yeah, I trust you to do that. You're my beloved son. And I've had so many trust moments like that when God bestowed upon me a responsibility, a position, a platform, affirming the training that I have gone through before that time. Gentlemen, I don't know what you heard from all I've said. I spent one whole day, 8 hours talking about masculinity. So 45 minutes is barely enough to even scratch the surface. But I want to believe that you are in this forum for a purpose and for a reason. And I know that God is doing something in your heart right now to move you from boyishness to masculinity. For those of you who have already started that journey or who are already on that journey, I want to believe that God wants to move you even farther, deeper into your masculinity. Because at the end of the day, the essence of masculinity is fathering others. So let me encourage you, even in your struggle, like Chuki has done, like Femi has done, you find an opportunity to be a blessing to other men. Teach what you know. You don't have to know everything. Find some boys in your neighborhood, organize a soccer club. Because for a lot of boys, it is their sports coach that God uses to father them. For some other boys, it's their teacher. Be a father to someone, even as you struggle with your own masculinity. Because the greatest need of the race, of the human race today, is men who will pay the sacrifice for others to succeed. I pray God bless you. I pray God keeps you. My time is up. I want to leave 4 minutes to answer questions. If you have any question, you can quickly put it in the chat, and I'll take 4 minutes, the rest of the 3 minutes left to answer them. But the world needs men, and I hope you're going to stand up and be a man. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I believe Chucky wants to say something to you before we go into Q&A.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephen with PH. I really appreciate your time, carving out this time to be with us. And it's in fact, my head is full with some of your wisdom. This is a guy I love so much, and he knows, I respect him a lot for the wisdom that God has given to him and for the impact he has been making in the lives of men. So please, if you have a question, just make sure you ask it now. So Femi, over to you, please. Thank you so much.
All right.
We love you too, brother.
All right, so it's Q&A. It's Q&A. I believe we've heard so much in little time. As we know, the time was short, but in that little time, I think a lot was said. So anything you want to gain clarity on, you can put in the comment section. But before we get into that, I want to see the emojis flying all around, and let's celebrate the wisdom we've heard today. Let's celebrate. Let's acknowledge the wisdom. Let's celebrate him. Let's celebrate the grace upon his life and for sharing with us today. Yeah, Chinwe says, God bless you, Coach Stephen. Agbos also say, thank you. Amen. Thank you, sir. I've been blessed. And thanks to the organizers. Yeah. Yeah, someone is bringing in a nugget from what you said, which is one of the key things I wanted to talk about. Also, I wanted you to put a bit of clarity on. Odejide Peter says, sir, God bless you for the high opening session. How did the transformation journey started? I think you shared that. You shared that when you were talking, if I'm not mistaken.
I did share some part of it, but there are two ways any kind of transformation starts, interestingly. Whether it's for an individual, whether it's for an organization, whether it's for a nation. Transformations only start based on two conditions. A burning platform, you get to the bottom of the road, there's nowhere else to go. Life becomes so bad, and that was my story. I was thrown out of school. I was living on the streets. All my wits were failing me. I was the guy when I was in school. I was the guy, and everything failed. I remember in those days, my friends would do all kinds of deals. They would be making money, buying cars. The moment I joined them, everything starts to fail. Wow. When I really think about it, I know why. My mother, she cursed me. She cursed me. Femi, you're laughing, but it's true. She actually used to say to me, "You will never succeed except you serve God." Wow. She said it and said it and said it. And it happened. I could not do anything and succeed. Nothing I did worked. I couldn't even toast a girl and succeed. Everything was failing. And then I became destitute, was living on the street. So I had nowhere to go except to say, okay, God, let's do whatever you want to do. Let's do it. So that's one way transformation starts. The only other way transformation starts is when you catch a vision. And sometimes both will have to work together. All right. Because it's not enough to get to the bottom. You still need to find something to pull you up. If you get to the bottom and you can't see anything up to pull you up, you still. So it's same thing for organizations. I'm an organizational change management expert. We understand that even with organization, it's either profits are falling, markets is difficult, or the leaders catch a vision. The same thing. For example, Nigeria is never going to change until we get to a point where we can't take it anymore. So that's how my transformation journey started. I got to a point where I either changed or died. It's either I changed or died. And thankfully to God led my paths into resources that allowed the transformation journey to begin. So it began when I found Jesus. And I don't mean that religiously. A lot of people say they found Jesus, but I found Jesus. And my life has never been the same. It's over 30 years now.
All right. Thank you, sir. I think there's a question here from Benjamin. Benjamin says, what if you don't have any father figure in your life from childhood, and the people you look up to as fathers can't be reached because of their positions in the society and all? What do you do?
Benjamin, that's a very, very good question. It's a very important question. In fact, I was thinking about it even as I prepared for this session. Interestingly, you might not believe this, but the three people that I look up to the most in my life, that God used to father me, I didn't have a close relationship with any of them. It was not a personal relationship with any of them. I mean, Father of Life Church, I was just a church member, and I wasn't close to pastor. I wasn't in Dominion City. I was in leadership, but I didn't have any one-on-one relationship with my pastor. The only time we really talked one-on-one was discuss ministry. I was just one of the leaders that he mentored and he raised and he fathered. And then when I met John, John is an international speaker. I first read his book, then I attended his conferences, and I met him a couple of times. You don't have to have access to them, but God will personalize their work in your life. I'm trying not to speak in church language too much, but I will sit in church. Pastor Ty will be speaking. And as far as I'm concerned, there's nobody else in that place because he's speaking only to me. The words as get into my ears, get into my heart, like it was just me and him there. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again for more than 10 years. Same thing when I went to Dominion City. I will be there and it would. So, Benjamin, once you open your heart and I've got it to the point where it's either you die or change, resources will come. And you don't have to be able to call them on the phone and say, hello, sir. No. But you have to pay the price to be in their atmosphere, to be in their community, to be under their covering or platform or whatever you want to say. For example, if God brings Chucky into your life now, you want to follow Chucky. Every time he's holding a conference, you want to make sure you attend the conference. Every time if he writes a book, you want to, so that's how it works. When natural fathers raise boys, this is very, very, very important, guys. Listen to this. When natural fathers raise their boys, the fathers take the initiative. But when you are an adult wanting to become a man, you have to take the initiative. I have a couple of people who call me mentors, and I don't hear from them for months. And maybe I see them, someone say, hey, Steven, you don't check up on me. I'm like, really? That's not the way it works. So Benjamin, go after these men. Not their personal time. You don't need their personal time. If you have an opportunity to be in their personal space, that's a blessing. Go after their resources. Go after being in their environment. Go after being under their teaching. God will use them to father you, and they might not even know that you exist.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. God will use them to father you, and they may not know that you exist. That actually speaks volume. All right. I think I may have to add one more question to Rain. For me, it's been a brilliant session so far. And if I hear you well, you speak a lot about fatherhood. How fatherhood actually is very important to us becoming men. It simply means that if you are not well fathered, you can't actually be a true man. If I'm not wrong with that.
Absolutely, Femi. Men are built, men are formed, men are forged, and the forger, the builder, is the father. There is no making of a man without a fathering process.
That's deep.
So, unfortunately, especially in the Christian space, father is not really understood, but that's okay. But there is no making of a man without a father. There's no man who has become a man who was not fathered. It's like saying an egg became a chicken without hatching. Like there's only one way an egg is going to become a chicken. It has to be hatched, right? So no way a man is going to be a man. No way a boy is going to grow into masculinity without being fathered. And like I said, at a point in my life, I can say I have no father but God. God fathered me through His word. But at some point, you are going to need another man. And God has a way of strategically placing men in your life to bring the fathering content you need at that point in time. Your job is to recognize those men and to go after them, and to get as much as you can. And sometimes a man can take you so far and he can't take you further, and then God is going to bring another man to take you the rest of the journey. It's a beautiful process once you understand it and you learn how to cooperate with it.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We'll need to let you go here. I think it's been a great time. I want to see that in the comment section right now.
Femi, if you don't mind, I want to quickly speak to Jadon's question. I think it's an important one. It says, how do I get confident and boldness reaching out to people?
All right.
Jadon,
go ahead.
Nike, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. See, what a lot of us don't understand is that our wills can act without our emotions. I want to say that again. As a human being, you have the capacity to act without the emotion to support the action. That means you can be bold even though you are in fear. You can act boldly even though you feel fear. So what you are talking about is you don't feel confident. that cannot stop you from acting. Acting is a choice you make. It's a decision you make. I remember reading about Martin Luther, the original Martin Luther, who led the Protestant Reformation. He was going to lead a march to Rome or something like that. And I remember they said, on the day they were going to take the walk, his leg and everything about him was quivering in fear. His teeth was clattering. And he went into his room and he looked at his knees and said, shake all you want, but you're going. Shake all you want, but you're going. And he went shaking. So, Jadon, you can act in spite of the feeling. Decide. And that's why you have to get to that point where you say that I change or I die. Because that's really the key. Once you get to that point, your feelings are not going to be able to stop you. Your feelings will catch up with you on the way, but you will be on the way going.
Beautiful. Thank you. I think Jadon, that's clear enough now. All right, Chucky, you're muted.
Thank you very much for coming again. Thank you. All right, so we're going to move to the next phase, and we're bringing up some other guys for our panel session. Thank you very much. Please make sure you send a very big thank you and a very big warm to Steve. You can also follow him on different social media platforms. As you just type his name, of course. I think he's the only one I know that has that name. All right, so Femi, over to you. Let's just continue your show.
All right, I think the conference has started on a very good note, and I think Stephen has given us a lot to chew about. But this time around, we're going to have a panel discussion, and it's a privilege to have all my brothers in here. I have Collins, Chucky, Raheem, Emmanuel. I think Emmanuel is hiding. I don't know what's going on. Wait, okay. The man from Turkey that cannot be eaten. All right. I'm supposed to read your profile, but I think Murphy's Law happened to me right now. So I may even change my face very soon. Only Chucky knows what I'm talking about right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give 30 seconds to everybody. Introduce yourself. Then I will introduce the topic because the topic is very, very interesting. All right, let me start with Collins. You're muted. All right, you're still muted, Collins. I think you have several devices on. You may need to mute them.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the conference. Introducing myself in a short way. Well, my name is Alomo Collins. I'm a life coach. I'm a therapist. I'm also a sales professional. Okay, I help people build their heart set and their mindset, so that taking them into peak performance, manage stress emotions, and selling themselves through life. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colin. So we'll get into mind and hearts today. All right, we'll see how that gets us into the bedroom. All right, let's have Raheem now. Raheem, how are you, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much, Femi, and my great brothers here. It's good to be here. Introducing myself, let's see. Let me give should I say the football version, as they say, the football age version or the real version, right? Oh, gosh. Interesting, right? Okay. Let's do the short one. My full name is Abdurrahim Oriagba. I'm 100% made in Nigeria, right? I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. I'm a public speaker, a business consultant. I'm very interested in human behavior and how the mind works. I help people get to where they are going, enable them understand where they are, and arrive at their chosen destination. I'm also a life coach. I have interesting hobbies. Somebody will say, how would you love karate and basketball? How are they related? But that's where I find myself. But most importantly, I love to laugh and have fun. Short version,
Thank
with some
Okay.
additionals in telecoms. I've been in telecoms for about 20 years and love sales, branding, and marketing. I'll hold my mic, but you understand the remaining.
No problem. No problem. You should have told us that the man who loves to hold the mic. With the way you love character now, I have to be very careful so that I don't find myself on the floor.
I support you. I support you.
All right, let's have Emmanuel. Emmanuel had his birthday not quite long. Happy birthday to you again.
Thank you so much, my dear brothers and friends. My name is Emmanuel Eme. I'm first and foremost a teacher. I have the gift of taking highly complex things and making them very simple for people to understand. On top of that, I'm a certified integrative life coach. And I'm a marriage and relationship coach. I'm a certified NLP practitioner, emotional intelligence practitioner, Lean Six Sigma practitioner, a Toastmaster like Rahim, and I'm a platinum mentee of Dr. Larry Lushola, and I've been doing this for about 25 years. And I love fun, I love music, and I'm a Google Explorer. I'm a level 9 Google Explorer. I love traveling and archaeology, history, and many things I will have time to talk about today. But most and foremost, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. All right, so we now have our hosts, Mr. Willis.
Yeah, thank you so much, FLA. All these are Toastmasters. Whenever they say this Toastmasters, what are they toasting? Who are they toasting?
Join us. Just join us.
Okay, simply, my name is William Sukudi, a life coach, and also a business coach, and also a leadership coach, all certified, all right, and also a relationship coach. So I'm so happy to be here with us to do this thing, and I'm glad that we're having this meeting today because already a lot of things are happening, and people are so glad. I'm getting some powerful SMS, chats here telling me also that are happening to them. So glad to be here. Thank you, and thank you.
All right, thank you, sirs. Now we're getting into a very deep water. We are talking about happy, healthy, and hot sex. Now, I know this is a conversation men have at the bar, and we talk about it secretly between ourselves. See this medium actually as a bar where we want to talk about one of the major things that men love. Now, if you're underage, you can mute and we'll probably reduce the volume. But if you're not, please get your questions ready because I have questions to ask all my brothers here. Let me start first with let me tackle Emmanuel first. I read a research that actually says that actually it's a Kinsey report, and it says that 54% of men think about sex every day. 43% does that a few times a week. Now, let me ask you a question. What does sex mean to a man?
All right. Thank you so
I like
much,
that.
Femi. And I was thinking, why was I thinking that you're going to call me first?
Guess we're all thinking the same.
Maybe I should be thinking things like that. Well, I don't know where you got that research from. But as a man, I'll probably say that research is true. And especially, we're not talking about boys here. We're talking about men. And I think it's something that is God-given. It's a way, that's one of the ways that we were created to survive. One is a survival instinct, or else we're going to go extinct. It's a survival instinct. And men were created, even the Bible said a time will come that a man will leave his father and mother, and boom, there's this detachment that will happen. Even though my wife usually turned that around to say, well, if the man leaves his father and mother, I should be bearing her father's name because I was all left to join her. But that only says that there's a book I read during I was taking a postgraduate course. It's called The Holy Longing. It's called The Holy Longing. And I think for many people have seen sex as something evil. There was a time in medieval time where a queen, actually a popular queen, tried to make that happen. You will try to paint sex. It's actually part of our survival. And why do we think about it? Men are very visual. A man is aroused by being able to smell. There's a scent of a woman, maybe the voice of a woman, the touch of a woman, even the thoughts of a woman, and that is how men are created. So for us, one, it is survival instincts, and number two, it's actually how men show affection to a woman. Now, a woman will say, like my wife, we were talking about something. We didn't realize that a lot of couples had it. So we got together with a couple, and the couple, one of them probably is on this show, listening in. So the wife complained that the husband somehow have been sleeping in the living room. Oh, I want to go and walk on my system or the other room, whatever. And the husband said, you know why I've been sleeping there? Because each time I come, you ask me to cuddle you, but how can I cuddle you without something happening? So the woman didn't understand. I mean, they got married not so long ago. But there's no way a husband or a man will cuddle a woman, and there will not be, some spontaneous reaction. So we have to explain that is how men are created. I say, oh, my wife, the woman will say, can't you just come and caress me, romance me? How can I do that? And so nothing will happen. It is impossible. So the way a woman is wired is different from the way the man is wired. A woman can show her love by serving you, by giving gifts, by receiving gifts and everything. But the ultimate show of love for a woman is when a man to a woman, is when the man gives himself to a woman. So that is the biological way. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. So if a man is here by a woman, women need to understand that thought alone is part of the way we were created. I think Femi is out. Did I scare him?
I think he's out. Maybe his network has.
All right. Okay, so I think maybe Chucky, you want to step in, or Collins, where you're looking.
Of course. While you were talking, I remember when Stevie was talking, and he mentioned the gift of sexual energy. Is a gift that men give to women. So it's it's powerful. I don't have a famous question, but then let's hear from Coach Collins. What do you have to say? The mind coach, bringing mindset into all this sexual energy for men, how to really enhance this whole stuff. You can go ahead, please. Coach Collins. Coach Collins, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me now? I'm trying to unmute. Yes, my network is acting up. Me now. Okay,
yes,
very good. Thank you to Emmanuel. I love the way he came about that. The truth of the matter is this: sex is a need. One is a divine need. Another is also a psychological need. If you take your mind, if you've ever seen Maslow hierarchy of needs, it is the only need that appears twice. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Can you still hear me? Okay, it
Yes,
really
yes, you can.
appears twice. It appears on the okay. It appears very basic level, which is your physiological needs. Okay, after your physiological needs, there's security needs, the needs for protection, housing, money, provision. Then it appears again for love, for longing and belonging. It is so important that they place it twice. In fact, people's behavior change when you give them access to sex. That you just what Stephen was talking about, where you see rich men fly from one continent to the other just to go and think us by God. It's a need that preoccupies our minds as human beings and as men. We experience it differently from women, like said by him. So it's something we have to get to understand, know how to manage, and use it to make our lives. Also, it's a very big gift from God in the sense that it's one of the greatest sources of that energy. It's one of the greatest sources of creativity. Even though when you don't have an opportunity to transmute it into creativity, ingenuity, and intelligence. I use my mind.
Thank you. I love that translation and that transmutation. Very important because I'm still going to touch a little bit about that. So, Rahim, what is your take on this topic? How do you talk to men about their sexual powers, sexual energy, sexual power? How can they serve the women in their lives with such energy?
I like the way you put it, talking about energy. Sex has its own energy, its own drive, how it pulls you, how it controls you, how it grows within you. The question is how do you adapt to the urge when it comes? Do you allow it consume you? Do you allow it take over you? Do you allow it block your thinking? You know, there's this thing about some may call it sex, some call it intercourse, some call it drive, and we have a lot of other names that is referred to. But the bottom line is a man and a woman coming together. I talk about it from a married perspective, and that's where we need to break down the rudiments. A man and his wife, they come together. Men, because of how we are made, we are attracted by what we see, the size, the color, very visual. Everything comes to mind and what you want to do. At that point in time, you get very selfish. The woman, on the other end, she's more attracted by the words, the sweet things you tell her in her ears, how you touch, how you come close to her. So it takes her time to get into the mood. But the man is bam, bam, bam. He wants to get there fast. And that's where the challenge now comes. The woman is waiting to feel you, waiting to understand you, waiting for you to get together, to sing the same song, to be in rhythm. And some men don't understand that. A man should ask himself, when was the last time I actually took time to listen to my wife? When was the last time I actually pleased my wife? When was the last time I actually found out what she wanted? Truth be told, we're all men here. When you are ready, you will get there, right? When you are ready, you will get there. It's all in the mind. But for the woman, it's a different process. What does it take for her to get there? What does it take for it to satisfy her? What does it take for her to enjoy the experience? The moment we start listening to this unsaid languages, and because of the nature of women, they are very shy. They don't want to talk. As a man, was the last time you asked your wife, do you like what I do? Do you like how I do it? What do you want me to do to you? How would you prefer it? Am I speaking your language? Am I with you? Are you with me? Are we in sync? Some questions people don't discuss in the bedroom. They just say in the other room, it's just work in the other room. But the truth is, if you want to get the maximum benefit of the other room, you need to talk. You need to engage her. You need to discuss it. You need to know exactly what she wants, right? Rather than thinking about yourself. And then, just like my brothers have said, you know, Maslow, Collins mentioned it. It's mentioned twice. Some women will ask you, now food. I will tell you it is food and much more. Because the moment the man does not look at you again and is looking elsewhere, you'll be beating him. Why is he looking? Why is he looking left? Why is he looking right? He should look at you. And you're telling him that is it food? And the moment he comes back and he says, I don't like this dress, wear a different dress. And you're wondering that this is the only dress I have. And he looks at another dress. You'll not be shouting, don't you find me more attractive? And you'll be asking yourself, why? Right? So the man, please his eyes, please his tummy. He'll be there for you. Why do they say women have that sexual drive or they have that energy? They can use it in ways you don't even understand. Why is it that a man will be talking to his friend, the woman will pass, and then they will stop the conversation? Why? How many times women are talking, a man will pass, they will still keep talking, they didn't even notice you. Why? And you say you don't want to listen to her. I'll hold on to my mic, but I'll let my brother speak.
Thank you.
And welcome back, FLA.
FLA, you're welcome back. FLA, you're welcome back.
All right, thank you so much. Apologies, Nigeria happened to me, but I'm back. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Rahim, I think there's a feedback from you.
I'm not quite sure.
It's from you, Femi. You are muted now, and it's better. All right. So I love your stance, and when you talked about sexual communication, this is the part that a lot of men are not utilizing very well. The purpose of sex is not to go and come out. You need to understand that every man that is there, we are talking about this because right now the rate at which women are not reaching orgasm is very high. A lot of women complain today that they don't reach orgasm and they find it difficult to speak to their men about it. One of the major things you should do as a man concerning your sexual relationship with your spouse is to be sure that your intention is to satisfy the woman. As a matter of fact, I've told people that sometimes when you are in this action and your intention is to satisfy the woman, it even helps you to delay your ejaculation. When your whole idea is to look at the woman and be sure that she's okay, it has a way of processing you longer and then getting the woman there. As a man, these whole things, this thing that Rahim mentioned about communication, asking these penitent questions is very important. You don't just have to just brush it aside. Do not let that happen. So, like Stephen said, it's a gift you are giving to the woman. Somebody is asking, is sex a need? And what is a need? A need is a necessity. Sex is a need, is a necessity. And just like Rahim said, that people are saying, is it food? When you talk about food in the sense of fuel, it's food. When you put food in your body to fuel your body, that is the same way you have to put sex in a man. A man has to have this thing to fuel himself. Now, there are some researches that have happened over time that lack of sex causes irritation. You can see a man just start being angry, just starts scattering his head. Because when you look at it, the rate at which a man produces semen is so high that if you stop this over time, it has a way of affecting his whole system. All right. So if you're a woman, it's something you need to understand that is food. Accept it like it's food. The same way you give him food every day, and understand that he needs food. Just know that this is food that fuels his soul, that fuels his emotions, that fuels his life. But then as a man, understand that as you are doing this, it's a gift you are giving to the woman as well, and getting her to where she ought to be. There are some women that don't understand, they don't know what orgasm is all about. So the man should carefully communicate the woman into that part. Very, very important. And thank you, Rahim, for mentioning that. Back to you, FLA.
All right. I think we've actually gained some speed when I was outside. The man said I was afraid. Actually, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid because I was planning taking us all to where we are not planning to go. But I think we've gradually started getting there in bits. But I'm going to take Chucky on the last statement he just made now about women not enjoying orgasm and the rest. But my own thoughts right now is, what can a man do when he discovers that his sexual desires are higher than his wife's, and he still wants those desires fulfilled, what do you think he should do?
All right, all right. So in my own understanding, and what I'll put out there to every man. Of course, I've had this question real time. Somebody asked me this question, and I told the lady, I said, see, come, what you have to do is to sit with your husband and carve out a sexual plan, a sex plan. All right. Let him understand that you know that this is what he's going through, and it's not a sickness. It's not a bad thing to have a strong sexual urge. It is not bad. But sit down with him to understand how you can plan this out. All right. And then sometimes I wish some of the women are here also to hear this. Sometimes what you can do over time is to, in your planning, to schedule your sex, your sexual intercourse, your meeting with your husband and all that. And also to understand that a woman who is working, somebody will be asking this, who is working, comes back 9 to 5 and all that. I said to them, I said, listen, nobody said that sex should have a particular time, so to say. But when you see that your time is challenged, all you need to do is to find flexibility. You can wake up at the middle of the night to have sex. You can wake up early in the morning to have sex. You can have sex when you sleep for like 2 hours and then you get to wake your husband up. And another thing is that you just have to find a way to help him go through that. Then, secondly, I tell women, it is also time when you have such a man, make up your mind to start loving sex. Not as much as he does, but then start loving sex. It's very important. Don't see it as a man thing. See it as a need that both of you have. Don't see it like his own thing. Don't say like that. But then also, to the man who has that, it is not about meeting your wife every day. There's also something it tells which Collins has pointed out. When you talk about just such sexual energy, there's something called sex transmutation. You just have to also understand that at that moment, it might be that all your hormone is trying to do is to be creative. You can translate that energy to creativity. You can translate that energy to some other things that can help you. It's not just about going to meet your wife. So I've seen men who tell you, oh, my wife is not giving it to me the way I want, so I'm going to get it outside. I said, no, you are misusing the entire concept of sexual energy. You are abusing it completely. Why you are having that drive or why you are going outside is not because you have a lot of drive or a lot of energy. It's simply because it tells you that you are a man full of creativity. You can actually sit down to have this control. So I say, don't let that erection become a direction to you. It shouldn't be something that will be places. Right? So allow you to sit down, put the control around this thing. It is your thing, and then enjoy your wife as much as you can. Thank you very much. I hope I'm able to answer the question.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, I want to go to Collins now, and which everyone is going to speak about this now. Collins, how can I, someone who's new in marriage, let's first address those who are 5 years in marriage now. First 5 years in marriage. How can they spice up their sexual experience? I believe you're muted. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, all right. I think it's on. The network keeps on fluctuating. Okay, can you hear me? Just give me now. Let me know you can hear me.
I can hear you.
FLA, can you hear me? All right, great,
I
great.
can hear you loud and
Okay, so
clear.
sex is like, all right, sex is like the climax. It's like the climax. Okay, there are certain things that need to happen, or certain buttons that need to tie together before you get there. Okay, it's like a journey. Okay, you have there's an acronym called RISE or RISES. Relationship that works usually rises. R is for recreational intimacy. You have to begin to look for things that you do together at your leisure that bring you guys together. Okay. There's also what is called intellectual intimacy. Okay, you have to begin to be on the same wavelength, begin to think on the same wavelength or something similar to that. Okay, there's also spiritual intimacy. Okay, you have to begin to develop yourself spiritually, have similar spiritual goals. All right, and there's also has to be emotional intimacy. All right, that is your emotional compatibility with your partner. Then that's sexual intimacy. All right, all these things come together, they lace together to bring out that spice. The more you check out on that box, the more you check out on these 5 boxes, the better your sexual lives become. You can be a 3/5, you can be a 2/5, a 4/5, you can be a 5/5. But you need to know where you are, what's not working, and see how you can merge it with that of your spouse. I take it again. There has to be recreational intimacy. All right. There has to be intellectual, that the ability to discuss, to be able to reason on a similar plane. There has to be that spiritual connection. There has to be also that emotional connection where you're going to develop that emotional connection before it ultimately leads to that. All right. It's just like also uh, in every relationship that has lasted for a time. Okay, you also need to have spot checks. You also need to have spot checks. How we do? Okay, this is the last 5 years. How we did? What was not working? What is the improvement and all that? So there has to be spot checks, and you have to build on that pyramid, that rice pyramid. I use my mind.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Now let me get to Rahim now. Let's talk about those who are 5 to 10. How can they spice their sexual experience?
Give me 10 seconds. I'm going to Emmanuel. Let me break my fast.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay. No, Emmanuel is old school now. So Emmanuel, apologies for that. Now, Emmanuel, let's talk about those who've been married for many years. You've done almost 25 years, man. So let's tell us, how can they spice their sexual experience?
Yeah, thank you so much. Before I answer that, I just want to acknowledge the women who are listening at this time. At least I know there's a woman, Kemi Oye, is listening all the way from England, I believe. I also want to acknowledge my dear friend, Barrister Emeka Nolefo, who has been really giving us some tidbit. This is actually his domain, marriage and sexuality and everything. Thank you so much, Barrister Emeka, for your input and everything. Maybe one of these days we're going to bring it on, maybe on Clubhouse. Anyway, now how do you spice up? I think what I tell people is I don't know how it works for everyone, but it does seems like the older you get, when I say older, not as in terms of people think old age is about being obsolete, but the more mature you get, the better it is actually. The more mature. In the next few months, my wife and I will have married for 26 years. I can say clearly without any exaggeration that we're actually better now than we were 25 plus years ago. It gets better and better. And I think what makes it better is the emotional
Wow.
connection. Actually, the emotional. When I first heard this, from a lady that been married at that point, like 20 years even before us, when she said it like almost 15 years ago, I didn't understand or whatever. But he said, the older you get, the better it becomes. And that's actually like wine, like fine wine, it matures with time. So it's better than it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, because there's not emotional bond. Now, the mistake that some men, I don't want to say most men, I don't know what everybody does, most men might do is to use that physical moment, sexual moment, to unleash their frustration. They'll think it's a way, it's like a tranquilizer for them. Oh, when I have it, I used to have a friend who would go and work in another town, and he's serious. Sometimes we just call up his wife to say, "Oh yeah, my bonsi, my bonsi." like, and I said, "I don't know, I'm hypertensive."
It wants to unleash the dragon.
Yes, he said because hypertensive, he said it brings up my blood pressure. It's crazy. Now, I guess that is probably what my friend, Mr. Barrister Emeka, said. Is it a need for only for you? If it's only a need for you, then it will not be a great thing. There was a time that my wife and I were getting together with a couple like almost 10 years ago, and the husband was very frustrated, and that is what all men will agree. A man whose physical needs, sexual needs are not met, is a very frustrated man. Is very irritated man. One woman said if she wants her husband to do everything in the house, just give him what he wants. He said that day, my husband go mop floor, he go sweep everywhere, whatever. Because men are happy. This is so much. So what the man said, now rape they could rape our women these days. So as what does that mean? Each time I touch my wife, she will just turn back. I say, if you turn back, I'll give her from back. And of course, the woman will say, okay, you don't do, finish and go. It's not a very good thing. It's a relationship that two people should enjoy. If it's the man is enjoying it, then it might become to a point where it might become abuse. It might be sexual abuse. Even though you're married, you can actually be abusing your wife, sexually. Now, one will say, well, I don't have any choice, but is she really enjoying it? So find out, like somebody said, find out how you can mutually enjoy, because it is two people, that is doing it. Like I said, even if the man is sick, and I know all the men will, even when you are sick, you still won't do. You get malaria, you still won't do. You get typhoid, you still won't do, because that is how we are wired. So I think if you have emotional connection, with time, it gets better and better and better. Don't rush. It's not, how you rush food from the pots, like beans, whatever, or those days on campus. You rush it will burn you. Take it easy. This is not rape or whatever. Take it easy, whatever. Start and pick up speed. Somebody define a man as a rocket, ship. It goes on with so much energy, boom, 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 and that's how it falls. But a woman is more of a 747. It taxis, then it glides in, and builds up. So by the time a woman is even just trying to go, the man is already down. And the one like OTLA, what is so I've yeah, each other, man. The one will say OTLA, or your mouth, the mouth in the because you rush it, and again, mind, everything is in the mind. Don't go all the way. Stop. Give yourself like 1 to 10, like a 1 to 10. Know your 1 to 10. If you come at 7, then don't hit 7. Stop at 5. If you come at 8, don't wait until 8. Don't wait. It's discipline. Then stop temporarily at maybe 6. Then you know how you stop, relax a bit, whatever there. But if you go after your emotion, you're feeling, you just go voila, and so you go for bagger. Then you start blaming yourself. Say, and I prepare, and real humbling men, whatever. Immediately it fall, he no go rise. Then he no go, your rise go hard. Then you start praying or whatever. Go. So calm down. Don't rush it. Tell yourself, what do you want to? How do you want to feel at the end of this? Exercise. You want to feel fulfilled.
All right.
So let that thought guide you. Okay. If that thought don't guide, it's on your mind. You can actually hold yourself in your mind. But if you give yourself all the way it's coming, go out. Now so you will just fall, and you're gonna get disappointed, and your wife also get disappointed. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
We break Rahim's fast. At the jail
No. I don't think so. Rahim has broken his fast before we started. I'm going to come to Rahim last now. Let me go to Chucky now. Now, still on this having a spicy, hot, healthy, happy sexual experience. I want Chucky to give me 5 practical things to do. 5 practical things to do. Ryan, get ready. I'm going to take 3 from you. Then we'll close with the final word.
All right. So on my own side, there are 5 practical things I believe one should do. Every man should understand that you need exercise. Physical exercise, very important. Physical exercise, yeah. If you want to be sexually active and very strong and performing, You need to give yourself that privilege of exercising daily. Even if it's not daily, you can do that 3 times in a week. But then make sure you do some cardio, quality cardio exercise. I've been times where I worked for so long and sat down for long, and I had this, wanted to meet with my wife, and the whole thing was not going anywhere. Of course, I called my family doctor, and he told me straight, "There's nothing wrong with you. When was the last time you exercised?" I told him, he said, "Go back and hit the gym, get back running." So you need that. Very important. The second thing to spice up your sex is to understand the idea of foreplay. See, if you're a man that wants to trust immediately, my friend, doesn't work like that. Just like Emmanuel said, you just become that rocket that just shoots and then down. If you know you will shoot up and you will shoot down immediately, then take the advantage of foreplay. It's very important that you take advantage of foreplay. All right. So get into that atmosphere where you bring, like he described, that the woman taxes, and then before she takes off, take her through all that taxing, take her through all that process before you get into it. By the time you are getting in, she's there, and then you are there, and everybody's happy. It becomes very attractive for the woman to keep asking you, and the whole journey, the whole experience becomes something shared, not just your thing. All right. Then the third thing I also say is that, like Rahim already mentioned it, is I call them sexual communication. When you are with your wife doing, or with your spouse doing this thing, make sure that you understand her the touches where it gets at. They know that some people, there are particular places you touch them, they don't like it and they keep quiet. And because there's no communication in that on that bed, you need to discuss that. How do you like it? What did I do? Why? Well, and all those stuff. You need to have some sensible discussions that can help you get you to know what to do better next time. All right, get to do better next time, or get to enhance it, or get to do it more next time that you are getting into the business. All right, so it's very important that we get into sexual communication and hit it on so well. Then the fourth one I'll talk about is that if you feel you need yeah, there are some men that it's becoming so obvious that they are looking for enhancers. If you feel you need enhancers, there are better and herbal enhancers you can get. All right. So if you are suffering or going through premature ejaculation, there are some of them they say you can spray on your whatever, on your manhood, that can help to slow this thing down. But like Emma said, the one that works better is to not to think about ejaculation, think about satisfying the woman. Let it be in mind to delay this thing. Then if you feel like you need the help of your wife, when you trust at a point you know that you're about to ejaculate, pull out and let your wife know that you don't want to, because you want her satisfied. Just pull out. She can rub the tips, and then you can do the foreplay, the action again with your hand, and then go back again so that you don't get into this thing. So we are talking practical things here. Don't get these things and everybody will be happy. The end of it is that everybody should be happy. Just the way you get to that orgasm, the wife should get to that orgasm. Don't abandon her, just like Emma described. Let her not be at the middle of it, and then boom. Because if you do it over time, she gets to not like having the whole intercourse with you. So let me stop there because of time. Thank you very much, Femi.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, yeah, Rahim, are you ready for us?
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. You know, just
Oh yeah, give us three practical steps.
three practical steps. You know, when you're coming after
Yes,
talking,
sir.
where do you begin? Where do you want to start from? Eh? I take it right. So I need to go and pick up. I need to go and pick up from the bar. So I'll put it this way, right? One major thing that we should do is start with the end in mind. Okay, practical. Where do you want to go to? What's the essence? Why are you there? Why do you love this woman? Why are you engaging in this? Once you know that, okay, at the end of the day, is to have sexual satisfaction, to reach orgasm, not for yourself, but for both of you. Then you now know how to start and how to control yourself, how to breathe, how to stop, how to take pauses, how to listen to her body, right? And how she reacts, because you know where you're going to. Two, one thing men should try and do is listen. Listen. When a woman is feeling irritated, you will know. When she's not ready, you will know. but you want to force your will upon it. Listen, don't listen to especially when they tell you, "Uteli," like Emmanuel said. It's not a fight. It's not Royal Rumble. It's not war. You're not trying to impress anybody. If you are a 2 kilometers per hour person, maintain your 2 kilometers per hour. Don't come and say, Emma is doing 100 meters per hour, 500 kilometers per hour. Then you want to meet up when you know that come on, it's not a race, or you see Chucky pulling weights, like you go to the gym and you see Chucky pulling weights, he's doing 50 reps. You just go there for the first time and just decide you want to pull 50. How now? You start gradually, you know where you are. So once you know your lane, you now know how to move it. And I'll take it from the last angle, which is spiritually, which is from the religious angle. It's a form of worship. Do you know that if you satisfy your wife, you are being rewarded for it Islamically? If you satisfy your wife. So imagine the blessings you are getting for engaging in sexual intercourse with your wife. God will bless you. The moment she's coming in your mind, you're like, oh God, alhamdulillah, this one, God has blessed me.
Collins, don't hear that one.
Understand?
I hope Collins heard that one.
Do you get? Do you get? So in essence, you listen, right? You trust that where you are going to, two of you need to arrive there. And at the end of the day, you also remember that is a form of worship. If you have these three things in place, in as much as I've gone to number 10, but because FLA is a gentleman, I will not go to 10, I'll stop at 3. And since I'm stopping at 3, I'll go to my mic for now, right? I'll let you guys.
All right, thank you so much. Because I'm using my phone, I'm not quite sure I can read if anybody has a question, because we really need to get to the final speaker for today. But if there are questions, please let me know. But before I get to question, I just want to go around, ask one question round. How far is too far when it comes to sexual satisfaction? That's my first question. And my second question is a healthy hot sex about duration?
Come again.
Or is a hot, fulfilling sexual experience, is it about the duration? Or it's about the experience itself? Because I can last 12 hours. Does that mean the sexual experience that's hot? That's healthy? So let me start from Collins, because they'll be calling Collins' name now. Everybody's going to speak to this as we wrap it up.
When I stop saying I worship, Collins he said you don't come. So let him speak.
FNA, you asked I got the second question, but network did not allow me to get the first. You talked about duration for the first. What was the second? What was the first?
How far is too far when it comes to sexual experience?
Too much of everything. All right. Okay. What's the second question?
Is a hot, healthy, spicy sexual experience about duration?
Okay. For me, I think the answers to both of them are similar. It depends on your customer. Let me use that word. Your customer is the person you are satisfying. It depends on your customer. It may be long or it may be short. Okay. And also, it depends on what the other person is willing to do. You understand? Your own fantasies may not be your woman's fantasies. But in all honesty, as much as possible, stay within what is acceptable by her in her mind. If not, she will reject you, like every other customer. So it depends on your customer. What both of you agree. What both of you agree. For me, I think that's what I would say there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Emmanuel. Same question. Is it about duration? And how far is too far?
Yeah. When it becomes abusive, that's too far. When it lacks consideration, there's always what they call it, there's always limits, reasonable, no limits. If the other player, if the spouse is ill and can't go, I think there should be consideration in it. If the other person is hurting the other person, there should be consideration. And you can use somebody to live out your fantasies. I've seen situations where one spouse has these incredible fantasies and he just automatically expect the other spouse to just come in. Sometimes you need to talk about things, and sometimes there might be things that some people have considered not very natural or modest. Again, getting together with spouse, a lot of people have seen where one spouse is insisting on a particular method and style and so many things. The other one, I'm just going to make it like for example, like blowjobs. When a spouse is okay, well, I need a blowjob, and I say I can't do that. I don't know, whatever, and so many things. There are health issues, there are whatever. So I think we need to talk about this thing, and I think because in our society, it's not a conversation that people have, and I think we need to bring it up. People like some of us who are marriage, counselors and coaches, we get to sit down with couples, and you might think let's say the woman is disrespectful or the husband doesn't care about the wife, but when you get down to the cocoa, you might find out that it is just the sexual relationship that has issue. That's actually the truth. He might come at home, my husband doesn't give me money, my husband look at me, he doesn't care for the children. When you clear the cobwebs, many times I find out that it is just simply sexual relationship. There was a man who once told me that there's only one thing I want for my wife. I can do anything for my wife, just this only what I want. I just want to be satisfied, whatever. Meanwhile, the woman is saying, especially when women have kids, it's like they now marry the children and now leave the husband suffering. They also need to talk about that one, whether when the woman is lactating or whatever. They need to talk about all of those stuff. And women also need to know that men don't grow up. I know that we talked about men, boys, but there's some certain level of men that don't grow up. I remember, conducting a marriage seminar one time. I think it was in Bayelsa or whatever. And the ages are like from 0 to 2 years married and to almost like 40 years. And I asked for a show of hands. I've done it in French countries, English country. I say, is there any man here who does not suck breast? And no hand went up.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming.
Men don't grow up. Men don't grow up, man. Men don't grow up. They say, go and buy it in the bottle. I say, don't grow up. They use for their mother's home, for the bottle, their wife. So these are things I want to talk about. Guess what? It breaks the silence. People now become more relaxed. But because we don't talk about these things, it is much more dangerous. So there are some limits, but we need to begin to understand. So first seek to understand before you want to be understood. And I think it's a beautiful question.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, Rahim, let's have you. How far is too far? And tell us, is it about duration?
How far is too far? Everybody run their race, so that's where I'll start from. Everybody run their race. You cannot say, oh, somebody will come and talk about how he has gone for 10 hours, how he has gone for 6 hours. Do you want to kill her? Don't you have a daughter? Don't you have sisters? What are you doing? They ask for women. On YouTube. This is serious. So I see on TikTok or Instagram, they'll ask a woman how long should the man go. You see some ladies who say a minimum of 6 hours, and I'm wondering. A minimum of maybe 6 hours, or they say how many rounds should they say like a minimum of 6. I don't understand. Even when they sell the pack, how many comes in the pack for crying out loud? 6. Come on, so everybody should run their race, And there's this thing you don't go about bragging. There's also even let me just say spiritually, they usually say it. Don't go out and talk about your private relationships outside. You can say, okay, when I do this, my husband does this for me. You don't know what the other woman you're telling is going through, or the other man you're telling is going through. And then by the time you do it, the next time he's looking at you or looking at your wife, or the next time she's looking at you and looking at your husband, she's seen a totally different picture. And I'll be wondering, and you said you're my friend. How do you come and steal my husband? You opened your mouth and let everything out, right? So how far is too far? Know your limits. Know your strengths. Chucky has said it. Go to the gym, work out. And they have a clear mental state, like Collins have said. Okay? And Imam has also said that communication should be there. Once all these things are there, you will run your race. It's not competition. And then, ask, is it how long? Right? But the quality, I always tell you, it's quality, especially when it comes to the women. Men, we know how to satisfy ourselves. That one we don't need to this. If you want to come now, you come now, right? So if it's a woman, when it's your wife involved, the question is, does she want quality or does she want speed? Mano mentioned something that if a woman is a 747, before she's on the wrong way, before she gathers speed and wants to start taking off, because your mind is there, you just and you have disorganized her completely because she's still trying to gain momentum, and you now see you want to sleep. Sleep for what? Sleep. Why? Why now? And she should not be selfish, she should be frustrated, right? So the question now is, what is the quality? What quality? How do you want to bring it in? The easiest way that people always forget is take your time, right? To work on her from the morning. Just try it. In the morning. Some sweet things when she wakes up, she'll be wondering, right? Send her a gift. Send her some text messages during the day, randomly. Take her for lunch. When she comes home, be very calm. Dress up fine. Her mind is you're already programming her mind. So by the time the night comes, don't worry, she will take over. You'll be wondering what happened. She'll be a totally different person. I remember one of my classes, right? I asked them, I said, everybody in this class, send this message to your wives right now. I don't hear any excuse. I said, send this message to your wife. I love you.
Voila.
Send it to your wives right now, and I'm going to check. Reluctantly, they all brought up their phones and sent their messages. Some of them come back, and I think about two, I think it was just one or two said the spouse responded, "I love you too." So they started asking. One man said, "Our problem, my wife is doing video call." My wife is doing video call. I said, "What? When she is not doing call, be sure that he was the one that sent the message." So she tried to be sure that he was the one that sent it.
Wow.
Are you okay? Another one said that, "Are you all right?" Another one now responded, "What do you want?" So what does that tell you? They don't have that communication. They don't, as they say, they don't whine their spouses. I'll not use the wife, I'll use this, but they don't whine their spouses. So how do you get the quality if you don't dedicate time to it? How? To get, if you know how long it takes to produce a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, it's not the same time they used to produce a Toyota. No disclaimer, but they are luxury, right? When you say the detail, if you want a quality experience, what time are you dedicated to it? What time have you dedicated to her? What time have you dedicated to yourself? You as your husband, as a man, for example, you want your wife to be figure 8. You want her to be this. You want her to be that. You want her to be this. Telling everything you want her to do. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and asked yourself, am I that hunk of a man that she married? Am I that guy that she wants? Do I still have that physique? Do I have that stamina? Do I have that charisma? All the toasting I was giving her before she married me, do I still give it to her? So at times, like, people usually say it. For the quality, and before I round up here, I will ask one simple question. When you have not been with your wife in a long time and she serves you food, how is it? Then ask yourself, when you have been with your wife and you don't satisfy her and she serves you food, how is it? Then ask yourself the third question. When you have been with your wife and you satisfied her and you know it and she knows it and she serves you food, what happens to the food? It's a
bad gone.
Hold on to my mic.
All right.
I don't spoil. what you said.
we need to end this conversation. We need to end this conversation because when it comes to talking about sex, you know the end. But we need to end this conversation. Let me hear from Chucky. I don't think I heard from Chucky. Then we get into the second speaker to wrap this up. How far is too far, sir? And is it
I
duration
think
or is it duration?
for me, it's not about duration. For me, it's about quality. Just like everybody has said, it's about the outcome, what you want, and just like Rahim also said, as a man, it's about the woman. So it's not for me. It's not 4 hours, 6 hours. That is not. It's not. That is not work now, beg. Just find a way and further aggression to another thing. So I think the first question is how far. So for me, it shouldn't be self-centeredness. It shouldn't be about you, and that is why every man should go and learn different things you can do about your sexual relationship with your wife. Go and learn different things you can that can help you enhance those things. So that you don't make it about you. You don't make it about just getting there and getting out. Okay, so I totally agree with what everyone has said. So I would just want to say that so far. Thank you very much.
All right. All right.
And
Thank you, my brothers.
Rahim, you sparked up something. Jadon said he just sent "I love you" to his wife. Now he has not done that in the more than 6 months now. Powerful. Thank you, Jadon.
Wow.
Listen to that. That's powerful.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's great. That's great.
All right. So I have to let my brothers go. So we'll have another panel tomorrow. So I'll bring them up again tomorrow to for another conversation. Thank you so much, sirs. I think now I have to bring Chucky up for this as a second speaker. No, Chucky, I'm not going to allow you to talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying yourself, and we're going to be leaving here by 7:30. I promise you. I've been so excited, and of course, learned a lot of things right from Stephen, and right here on this panel session. Don't go yet. We have just less than 18 minutes or thereabout to end the session, and you can still share the link because we want to talk about the better man. All right. I love the word better, better because better for me is better than any other alternative. The alternative that people bring in as perfection or whatever they call it. For me, better is better than perfection. Better is better than comparison. Better is better than what you might just look at and say, "Oh, I want to get speed." All right. I love that word better because it is loaded with potential. Is loaded with potential. Better is achievable, better is affordable when you compare it to perfection. Better is available when you compare it also to perfection. It is easily available, it's easily achievable. All right, so any man can get any man, including you that is listening to me. Any man can get better. I don't care what your years of experience. So you heard the testimony or the life of Stephen, and you heard the processes, how he was a criminal and all the things that he went through to where he is today, a global person. It tells you that any man can be better. Any man can have a better health, irrespective of the kind of health challenges you're having now. Any man can have a better fitness. Any man can have a better career. Any man can have a better sex, like we just discussed. Any man can have a better life. Anyone, you can. So let me share a story with you. Some years back, I started gaining weight. I started gaining a lot of weight, and I decided I'm going to hit the gym. And I got into the gym the first time, paid for the gym, and I also found out I needed a coach to help me go through the process of my gym journey. And when I got there, the first day I came to the gym, I fainted. The guy took me through that, and I fainted. And in my mind, I was like, can I do this? And I came out that day, I was just breathing so hard. And the guy came to me. The only question he asked me, guys, he said, "I hope you're coming back tomorrow." I said, "What do you mean by that? Coming back tomorrow after what I've gone through today?" He said, "Please come back tomorrow." And the next day I went again and I fainted again. And one of the ladies came to, I was asking me, "Are you sure you don't have a low sugar or something and all that?" My coach came to me and said, "There's nothing wrong with you. It's just your teaching. Make sure you come back the next day." And that particular time, this guy could lift me. When he lifts me up, I want to do push-up. When he lifts me up, I could do only 10 push-ups. Only 10. Only 10. Now, fast forward to about 4 to 6 months into this whole exercise journey. I came to gym one day and he told me that today we are doing only push-ups and we are doing so different variations of push-up. And that day, guys, I did 630 push-ups. 6 months after, the guy who could just do only 10 push-ups. What does this story tell you? Any man in what your goal, your aspiration is. You don't just have to give it up. You can get better. All right. So all you need to think about is what you want to get better at. What is that thing you want to be better at? What is that thing you are aiming at that you want to be better at? And I want to see the chat room. Maybe you want to share with us what you want to get better at in the comment section. What is that thing you want to get better at? Some of you want to get better at your career. Some of you want to get better at your finances. Some of you want to get better on your relationships. Some of you want to get better in your fitness, in your health. Some of you want to get better in whatever thing it is. In your business, you want to get better in your communication. You want to get better in your thinking. You can put it in the chat room. You know, everyone will have it. And in as much as I got better in fitness, today I have a lot of muscles I never had in the last 2 years. I developed muscles over my body after like 2 to 3 years of workout. I never knew it's going to be possible. Those days I used to think that, man, this is a difficult thing. And then when I look at my coach would tell me it took him 12 years to get to where he is today. All the muscles on his body, that it took him 12 years. And then he now make a statement that is also profound. He said, one thing you need for yourself on your journey of getting better is to be patient. First of all, identify that thing and then be patient. Today, I lift weights that I never believed I could lift. I can plank for like 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Sometimes I plank with some weight, maybe 20 kg, 40 kg on my back. It wasn't like that. How did I get better? I had this focus of getting better in my fitness, and I started little, and I was patient with myself, and the cumulative effect of that daily practices began to add up, and today it multiplied to days, weeks, months, and years. So you just have to understand that where it starts is the point of starting little. Just start little and then let it build over time. Be patient with yourself. Ask yourself, what are the skills you need to get this thing done? Do you need a coach? Do you need someone? And you heard Coach Stephen, if you were here when he was speaking, one of the outstanding things that he did that was so profound for him was that he took time to identify key people that could help him. Key people that could help him. So this journey is not a journey about just yourself. And I see a lot of people do it in the gym. They come to the gym, they just want to train themselves. So there are 3 things I found out that if you don't get a coach around to get better, I'm just using fitness now as an example. I found out that such people, they don't last more than a month or 2 months. They lack motivation. Some of them, they'll end up not lacking endurance. Some of them, they'll end up lacking stamina. All right, some of them, they end up lacking form. So you see people injure themselves because they are not guided. They don't have people who are. So as a man, you are getting, that's your better journey, that thing you just wrote down that you want to get better at. You want to find out who can help you go through that journey. All right, you want to find out who can help you go through that journey. So all you need to do to start the journey, like I said, is to start little. You want to get better in a relationship, start with little changes in your relationship. Maybe changes in encouragement, changes in communication. You can start small like that. All right, so powerful that you need to understand that. So any successful journey you want to start starts with that understanding of your outcome. So if you know where you are going, of course, the first thing you want to find out is to identify where you are, and then you want to now know, oh, this is where I'm going to. So you want to be a better man. What area do you want to be better at? All right, so let me just move a little bit to the average life. You know, it's very common to see men around us now who is living the average life. Vertically, in most of the things we do. So people have settled for less. People settle for what is available. They don't settle for what they can achieve. They settle for what is given to them. So they settle for, what they think the government can give to them. They settle for what the business or what their career can give to them. They are not settling for what they truly want, that they can achieve, they can develop. All right? So the average person cannot articulate for himself what he wants. The average man cannot articulate for himself what he wants. They always think about what is available. So they don't sit down to say, okay, this is what I really want. They don't have definite desires. They don't have definite things that they can say, this is it. So if you want to live a better life, begin the articulation. Begin the articulation. When you know what you want, you can look for the means to get it. When you know what you want as a man, you can, of course, drive the means to get it. If you want to live above average in anything you do, begin to sit down to articulate what you want. And you can articulate mind-blowing things, things that are not your equal, things that are not your mates, things that are not your mates. I'm telling you the truth. I've had times where I was so confused. In fact, even Stephen, when he will tell you, I've had times with him so confused, asking him all kinds of questions. We'll sit down at Silverbird Gallery all night, all through the evening, and we'll talk through a lot of issues and how to get out of them. And then I started finding out that what I needed at that moment, and which we went through, was to articulate things. Oh, this is the area that I remember one day I asked him a question. I said I told him I wanted to do something, and then he asked me, he said, "How old are you?" I said, I told him. He was just asking me. He said, "Do you think you have time to go through an experimental life? To go and experiment something again?" He said, "It's rather you sit down now to articulate things so that you can move on with your life." So an average man does not think he can last long enough during intercourse. That we're discussing. It takes an average man to think like that he can't last long enough. But somebody who lives better than average thinks about working with her wife, thinks about understanding the whole dynamics we talked about on sexual sensation, thinks about understanding the whole dynamics about arousing to reach orgasm, thinks about how to do different things to get their spouse to where she was going to. So somebody who thinks about average articulates how he can get better sexually. Somebody who is an average thinks about just to go and get out. So that's the point I'm trying to make. All right, that's the point I'm trying to make. So somebody who is an average thinks about, when he thinks about money, he thinks about money in relation to what he can get. He doesn't think about money in a way that it is a value or is something that can help him to fulfill purpose. So an average man, so you see an average man, they really express gratitude. It's very difficult for them to express gratitude. Very difficult. But then when you check over some scientific researches, you find out that gratitude is one of the most important things you need as a man. Learning to count your blessings. Do you know some people have been married for some time, they've not taken time to be grateful about or are grateful for their wives or grateful for their children? It is one of the things you have to look at. Sometimes I was telling people I used to do this, and I still do it. I look at my wife, I look at, even when I'm alone, and I say, God, thank you, because my wife's body serves me. It serves me. And I love the body. Because when we stop being grateful, we'll start thinking that we don't have what we have. We'll start thinking that we don't have what we have. But we do have it. So being better than average helps you to count blessings, helps you to be grateful. Very powerful thing that we can start doing. So learn that one of the greatest things you can do as a better man is to start living above average. Start living above average. So I will start running off by saying something here, and I want to say this to men. There are some certain things you need to do for yourself. We've been speaking to men, and the whole concept is to help men as much as we can. Now, let me tell you some of the things that has helped me to accelerate my age and to accelerate my life and to kind of cut off some some avoidable things. You see this thing they call debt. Debt can be avoided. One of them is my food choices. Now, there are some certain foods that you eat that affects your sexual mood. That is the truth. So you when you go check it or Google it, you find that there are some certain food that helps your mood. Now, one of the most dangerous food for any man is this thing they call sugar. It completely alters your system. So if we're talking about sex here, of course, we didn't get to that food side. The food choices you eat as a man matters. You can't eat your life away. You can't just sit down and eat your life away. They said that food carries information that it goes into your DNA. So if that is true, and which I believe is true, what are you eating and how is it changing your DNA? Poor dieting will definitely guarantee you a life that alters your DNA. And of course, entirely at the end of the day, brings you to a point where you are suffering a lot of things. So when you look at the alarming rate of hypertension, alarming rate of blood pressure, sugar level, it is so crazy. And these things are reversible by changing your lifestyle, starting from your diet. And I love what somebody said. He said, you cannot gym away bad diet. You can't gym it away. So it starts from your food choices. So if you want to accelerate your life and live more stable as men, and this Malim Summit, we need to let you know that your food choices matters a lot. It matters a lot, all right? So I don't want to get into the different foods, but then go find it out. The second thing which our mentor, Leonard Ushola, teaches us a lot is sleep. Go and experiment this thing. Take 30 days, deny yourself sleep. It will mess up your sexuality. It will mess up your relationship. It will mess up your business. It will mess up your job. It will. Sleep is not what people come to brag about. I sleep 3 hours a day, because I'm not a poor man. It is ignorance. If you don't sleep soundly enough, your whole body will suffer it. Your entire system will suffer it. So I encourage you to make sure that you take your time to do that as a man. We're doing this thing because you need to stay here longer than you ever expected. For your children, for the society, for yourself, for everything, for your purpose, you need to stay here longer. We don't want you to start go away at the age of 45, at the age of 35, 30, 50. We want you to stay here longer. So it is good that you take sleep seriously. But it's also good that you take care of yourself when it comes to stress. If I ask many men here now, how many of you go for spa session? You will find out that most men don't do that on their own. And they say that stress causes 95% diseases that people have. And one of the ways you can hit stress is exercise. One of the ways you can hit stress is sleeping. One of the ways you can cut it off is by getting massage and different things you can do for yourself to get that done. And of course, getting out some emotional. So we have someone like Collins here, who's a coach that can help you put you through your stress life and get you out of it so fast. But then you just have to know that, be aware of these things. As a man, you don't need to cut these things short. Your rest time is so important. The other thing you have to learn is to remove addictions from you. Addictions to tobacco, addictions to drugs and all that. We see it on the increase. In fact, in Lagos here now, at every major estate entrance in Lagos here, there are crazy guys selling drugs anyhow. And these drugs are not sold just to children or teenagers. They are sold to even adults who are rich guys, popular, famous in the estates. I don't need to mention along this whole Lake Yazis, when you go to any major estate, you see them, you are driving at night, they call you, they'll be calling you, doing their hand like this, and these are hard drugs, and people are getting hooked up to it at every given time. These vices, they damage your thinking, they damage your entire system. They said that 15 minutes of cigarette smoke can harm your DNA, just 15 minutes of it. Now, I'm not condemning you. We're only showing you some of the things that can help you live long. And good news is that there are strategies, there are tools and techniques that can help you get out of it. So I have this friend at the gym, and he told me he will come to the gym and we will do something. The guy will say, man, I'm tired. I said, man, bros, you are not like this. The guy said, man, if you know how I smoke every day, I smoke a lot. And I told him, okay, that's do something. And I took one of the tools that we use to help people get over addiction. And the guy was so shocked that with all his amplification of his addiction, how he addicted is, he doesn't smoke again. And I said to him, because you need this exercise more than it. You need to exercise. You need to get through this thing, these rudiments. So if this thing is what is going to stop you, we are going to make sure that it stops decoding, or so rather stop coding your DNA. The other thing is when men ignore the risk factors, when men refuse to go for checkup, when men refuse to talk about their health issues, when men feel like they can suppress it and get over it. So my friend's wife died. Sorry, my friend died, and we're asking the wife, how come your husband died of diabetes at the age of 30 something? What's the meaning of that? It could be managed, something could be done. And he said, when my husband found out that he was diabetic, he warned me straight on not to tell anyone. But then every single day he takes 5 bottles of lacasera. If you're not in Nigeria, lacasera is one of the soft drinks in Nigeria. And sometimes in a week he takes like 2 buckets of ice cream. And I said to her, what did you do? She said, but he told me to say, I said, if it is a life or death thing, women, please cry out and shout. Go and call for help. Don't let that man at that level. Men, it is time we stop ignoring risk factors. Risk factors of this disease that wreck bodies. It is time we go for help. Go for your test. Go for your checkup. And start tackling it when it is a baby before it becomes the elephant that fills the room. You tackle it head on. So I've talked about exercise. Now let me say something about exercise. Let me try and get the statistics about exercise. They said, let me find the statistics. All right, so they said exercise. They said men who engage in regular physical activity have a lower risk of developing chronic diseases such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. Number 2, exercise has been shown to have a positive impact on mental health, reducing symptoms of depression and anxiety in men. Number 3, men who engage in strength training regularly are more likely to have better bone density, reducing the risk of bone diseases. Research suggests that regular exercises can improve sexual function and reduce the risk of erectile dysfunction in men. We have talked about this already. So it is so important that we get into this for men. Every one of us, get deep into this thing. Let's stay here and continue building our legacy. Let's stay here because our family needs us. Let's stay here because our society needs us. Let's stay here because we have a purpose to fulfill. Very, very, very important. Thank you so much for listening. We're going to bring back the panel again. I will just round up the meeting. Hey, yeah, Rahim. All right, guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we're back here again.
All right.
Over to you. So let's begin.
All right, thank you so much. I think we must appreciate everyone for being here. Chucky, that was a very fantastic session. I must confess, I have my notes here. I had to take some notes, and I learned so many things, and there are a lot of reminders for me. For us to round up, because we're going to converge here again tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be hotter. But if it's possible, while I tell the panel to just give us one word in closing, I would love to read your comments actually in the comment section. How was today for you? Help us put that in the comment section. How was today for you? Let me get everybody's final word. Let me start first with Raheem. Raheem, what's the final word for today? Am I the only one? I can't hear you.
Okay, is it audible now?
Yeah, it is.
Thank you very much. I may not give one word, I may give a few words, and that would be that men getting together, talking about men issues, talking about being intentional about ourselves is very deliberate and very required, especially talking about it in an open forum. I love the way you said, discuss this like we're in the bar, you know. all bars open, right? We all understand what that means. No limits, no nothing. You bring it on as it is. I see Emmanuel laughing. He knows exactly what we're talking about. Really not wrong. And when we talk like this, a lot of people can relate. They understand this is what men face, this is what we go through, this is what our women face, and this is what they go through. There are things they can say, there are things they cannot say. So my final words for the topic on its own will be: women, when you're with your men, be selfish. Be able to be selfish. Satisfy yourself. Be selfish. Right? And get back home. Remember, it's not just about the man. You are part of the relationship. So be selfish a little bit. Yes, I said it. And then for the program on its own, right? As men, be more intentional about what you do, how you do it, right? Because there's another generation of men that are looking up to you. If we have boys that are in the society parading as men, where are the real men that should take the lead?
Mm.
So men that are out there, come out and establish yourself as real men, so that the next generation that are coming behind us will have a good example to live by. I hold on to my mic while I let my brother speak.
Thank you so much. Even though I've grabbed the mic. All right, Emmanuel, let's have you.
Yeah, I think this has been a very wonderful time. I think men will definitely live longer when we have more things like this going. And I know that our
Mm.
wives will be very excited knowing that this is what we're talking about. I remember a lady seeing this program on my status, and I just replied and said, "Oh, can women come?" And there's some people who say, "Oh,
Mm.
I need to give it to my husband." So I think the whole concept of being a man, work, provide whatever, men need to a place they can ventilate. Who can talk like this, no holds bar. I think we're going to live longer. If you look at it, women live longer because they are naturally designed to just commune with themselves, chat and let out. But men are really close. So I think this is a very, very good avenue. I want to thank Chucky for bringing all of us together. Can you imagine? Chucky is a
Yes.
great guy. He
Oh,
pulled
yes.
all his muscle with all the 600 push-ups. When I, Afraid was catching me when he was saying those things, man. Afraid catch me, man. But I just so let's do this more. I can't wait for tomorrow.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, Collins, over to you, sir.
So thank you. I want to start by thanking Chucky. Very great initiative, and we need more of this. Even other women, my friends, they'll be telling me we need more of this. Um, you know that for men, just like Stephen said at the initial stage, is that most of us learn sex the wrong way or a dysfunctional way. So we now need to relearn what we learned the wrong way. Okay, and you can do that through coaching. You can do that through therapy. All right, and honest discussions, because we need to reprogram your brain to live the kind of life that you want to live. So it's very crucial. We need to ask ourselves, how do we learn about sex? What are my true understanding or relationship with sex? You need to understand that and get that out of the way through therapy or other things. Then we also need to seek knowledge, seek relevant knowledge. Programs like this, you see programs like this, go invite your friends. You cannot just be in the cocoon of your friends. Your friends don't know it all. And many of your friends, instead of helping you solve the right problem, they may not they may mean well, but they may not have the tools. Okay, you can get the tools from
Mhm.
education, from educational trainings like this. And in every area of life, basically, there's a coach, somebody who is well trained. So if you're having sexual issues, if you're having issues related to stress, issues with marriage, there are people who are trained who could help you sort out. So I yield my mic. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. I'm going to hand over to Chucky for the final word. I will talk. Then Chucky will
Let's
wrap it up.
let's ask FLA for his final word. The guy don't dey hide behind this MC.
All right. I just wanted to read some of the comments before I actually say something. It's good to have Kemi Oye here. She said very informative. Emeka rather says, I need to improve on my exercise. Wow. Leadership Badego K. Motola says, well done, coaches. Great session. John says, honestly, it's an amazing and educative, especially when being intentional about sex life. Praise says this is a mind-blowing transformation workshop for me personally. Jadon says I was blessed. Thank you so much, Mr. Williams, Emmanuel, Collins, Rahim, and Efele. God bless you all. I pray to have one of you as my coach. No problem, no problem. So my final word really is I came here to learn and I learned. And for me, it shows to me we can still raise men, and we still have room to have men that are men indeed. So for me, I was really encouraged, and I learned a lot. Despite all odds, I learned. So thank you, Chucky. Thank you, my brothers, Emmanuel, Collins, Rahim, and everyone. I am blessed, and I'm blessed. That's what I can say. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate this whole stuff. I'm so excited because I know just reading these comments here is so amazing. Now, one of the things we'll have to leave with you, every one of you here, is that all of us here are coaches and we coach men. So it's not enough to just pray about it. So don't reach out to anybody here immediately. Don't waste time and get coached. And of course, every one of us here, we're all qualified as fathers as well. So when you reach out to any of us here, you are going to get the help that you need, the assistance that you need, the coaching that you need. I'll ask you to make sure you reach out as soon as possible. You can get the names here, go find us out, or maybe some of us can type. We can type. Can we all type our maybe Instagram handle or is LinkedIn or Facebook so that they can go send us a DM. So you can just do Instagram. So my Instagram is that I'm Chucky. So you can just go send us a DM. Of course, all of us can we just put this so that they can go send us a DM and reach out to us as soon as possible. Thank you very much, Ihani. It's a very impactful session. So tomorrow we are coming back by 5 p.m. tomorrow again here. And we're having a fantastic session with the Steve Harris and Laro. So make sure you invite many people, like Collins has said, reach out to as many as possible, send this whole link out and let people join us. Let them join us tomorrow. It's going to be much better than what it is today. So I want you to make sure you get in tomorrow. Thank you guys, and see you tomorrow. I didn't see you guys typing. Coach Collins, Coach Emmanuel, Femi, Rahim, you didn't type in your handle so that people can go send you a DM in the chat room.
I think Ryan has to
It's
figure it out.
preventing us to when
I actually did on YouTube.
YouTube, yeah. Can do that
Okay,
on
on
YouTube.
YouTube. Okay. All right, that's fine. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. But if you don't get it here, you can actually look up the names and search for it, and you've seen their faces. So when you see the name, you can match the face on any of the social media platform. See you guys. Bye bye. Let's unmute and say bye bye to the audience. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye. Catch you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow.